Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. In the last episode, we saw the major war happen between the Square Alliance and the Diamond Alliance, which lasted, the Diamond Alliance won, and the Russians got pretty big. We had the blue team taking the Catalonian coast, the brown team, the Sicily people got like really messed up. Greece came back, Bulgaria got messed up, the Ottomans got messed up, but yeah, so that is a brief overview on what happened last episode. Today we're going to be taking a look at more of that. Well, not more war, but more other stuff. And let's go ahead and start in the British Isles. So, the Orange Country has recently got a new government. They have become way more friendly towards their British Isles. For a while, they were not having it. The Purple Team invaded them. But after their government elected a democratic leader, they will change their ideology to a democracy, well, flawed democracy, because it's not really a full democracy like in other nations, but they're trying their hardest. But it doesn't even matter. We didn't even need to go on that ideology layer because something's gonna happen, and that is a union between the orange and the cyan teams. And I am gonna put it all in this turquoise color, or not turquoise, teal color. But within this country, there's actually a region that wants to join Wales. There's this province right over here. So they go ahead and become part of Wales. And there we go. This country is going to go ahead and put their capital in a new location. That being more central, so we're going to put it in that major city right there. But staying on this region, we're going to go ahead and look at the blue team. And, well, like I said, their people don't want to be a part of, well, their people want to be a part of this, but the government does not want to. So the government is going to go ahead and, well, they see that this is happening right here, and, yeah. So all the British Isles countries just start to invade, and the capital city is taken by the Scottish. And let's just go ahead and take a look at this peace treaty. So in this peace treaty, the Cyan team will take all of that. The red Welsh country will take all of this, and the rest of it will of course go to Scotland. And there we go. So that country no longer exists, and their capital is now just a major city of Scotland. And yeah, so this island is wrapping up their countries because technically these guys are they're gonna form a political union, but it'll be interesting. We'll just have to see when it happens. And this island, the British island, is fully on the economic alliance. And all the countries except this purple country are flawed democracies. Anyways, taking a look off of that, we're gonna go ahead and go over to the elves. So they actually start exploring a lot of the water, specifically this military country. They start exploring some of the water over here. And they also start exploring a lot of the coastline of the Americas. And they also explore a lot into Florida. However, it is getting a little hard for them to do so. And they also explore into the Mississippi, Alabama, and of the Western Florida Panhandle. Well, once again, that'll be it for them for now. Actually, they're gonna go ahead and make one more expansion. So the Brown team will get all of these lands, which is a good chunk. The Lime team will get all three of these areas, which, like I said, is also a pretty good chunk. And then for the Purple team, they will get this southern area right here, and then all of the South Carolina area. So these elves have greatly expanded. But we're gonna go ahead and take a look at one of their boats. Now this is just one of their boats. Oh, this is a couple of the boats, but their boats are actually they're advanced a lot. But the problem with their boats is that it's not. It's interesting with their boats. They can go far, but if they were like, if they were counteracted by another country, then their boats would like get destroyed. So yeah, their boats can go far, but they will get destroyed if they were from another country. But anyways, a couple of boats, I don't know how many, they accidentally get lost in the ocean right about here, and they are in a storm, and they do land in some of these islands. So they set up camp there. They won't fully explore them. But they set out sail to try to go back here, but more storms hit, and they go really far this time. You know, they're fishing and they're eating off of that. They're drinking the ocean water, which is probably not a good thing. But they're also drinking rainwater, also probably not a good thing. But they actually go ahead and land over here in the tip of South Africa, and they will form a new country in this region, which is inhabited by elves. That will be this greenish team. So we have a new country on the map, a new elf on the map, and that is in South Africa. So interesting things happening in Africa. Anyways, this Korean country will expand along the Korean peninsula until they take what they think is pretty much all of it. And they will continue to expand. I don't want them to expand in the water. That's not what they're doing. But they meet up with the pink country and they even meet up with the blue country. It's taking a lot of land in the inland areas until they set up a claim. And that claim is a pretty large claim, which looks like this. The hot pink country will also just expand. They are just going wherever and whenever. The Chinese country will also expand this time, going down the coastline, and they're doing pretty well for themselves. You know, they don't have an established they don't have an established like. It's interesting within this country. They don't have a goal, but they will try to just do whatever. And same with the green team. So the green team is going to go ahead and meet up with China. And now those nations have been connected up, which might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. There's the border. And these countries will set up claims that look like that and that. So, yeah, so Asia has pretty much just connected up with themselves. And to make that official, we see that this brown country has been moving up the Vietnamese coastline. And they have meet up with the green team. And yeah, so there we go. This dark red country will also set up a claim looking something like that. And if you remember, the orange team said that their expansion right here would be their last, and they will follow up with that. So they will get all of this land. The brown team will get all of that land, and that will be their last, well, not their last expansion, but it'll be an expansion nonetheless. From here, a new blue country is going to go ahead and form up in the tip of Malaysia, kind of where Singapore is, and they also just start expanding. They also have good relations with all like four of these countries up here. So yeah. And I'm not going to divide the Malaysian Peninsula with them. So the orange team will get everything that, and then the blue team will get everything south of that. It really does kind of look like the border between Thailand and Malaysia. The blue team will also take some land from Sumatra, however, they won't go too far as they are a newly established nation, and they don't want to make anybody too angry as of now. Coming over here to the Cyan team, they will go ahead and take some land, and they will set up a claim of land that looks like that. And they say that this will be their last expansion. They could go for more, however, they're not going to. And that's for a pretty good reason. What just happened to my mic? Because a new purple nation has just formed up right here and they are a bunch of people from the Central Asian War. Remember when the Civil War happened in Central and the yellow team that was up there? Well, they migrated down here and they set up a tribe, but now that is actually becoming a full-on civilization as they move closer and closer to what we would know today as China. And I'm pretty sure they're already in modern day China. If not, actually no, they're probably like really close. If not already there? I don't really know. But they will expand along the border of the Cyan team, fully enclosing them from expansion over here in the east. And the purple team will just continue expanding. They have nobody to tell them not to until they go ahead and set up a claim. We see a lot of countries setting up a claim recently, and their claim will look like that. So they do get a pretty good amount of land. And then the blue team is going to go ahead and decide to meet up with them and cut the Cyan team fully off from expanding. So there we go. The Russians over here are going to do some more exploration along this Siberian area. The red team and the former Central Asian countries are also doing this, but just not as much as the Russians are, because they are the main ones who are doing it. And of course, every other country set up a claim. Why don't you set up a claim? So the Russians will go ahead and make another ginormous claim. And at this point, their country started to get like, okay, we should probably stop expanding because this is getting a little too much for ourselves. What just happened? We are already the biggest country in the world by far. We should probably let some other countries try to outbeat us. I don't know why they would think that. They're probably pretty nationalistic in this country, but who knows? So countries actually do try to beat them, like China. This Chinese country will try to go ahead and beat the Russians, and so will another country over here, that being the blue team. The blue team, for some reason, is they're a very interesting people. They are much like the Russians in the fact that they don't care that they could collapse. They're just gonna do whatever. So they even meet up with Lake Baikal and fully encircle this lake, and they will stop expanding from there. However, they have already become one of the biggest countries in the world. So this is kind of the age of rapid expansion. We had the age of exploration with Asia, and a lot of Africa was discovered. But now we're seeing the age of expansion, and well, more exploration will of course happen, like in the sea. A lot of these areas start to get mapped out by the Russians, and it's very hard to do this because a thing known as Arctic Ocean. But they're gonna be fine for now. Coming over here to the blue team, they have been on their expansionist quest recently, and they will go ahead and invade this pink country, which actually puts up a way better defense than they thought it would, as it pushes, or the blue team is like they're shocked on how well the pink team is doing. The blue team is overall winning. However, it is kind of hard in some areas, especially over here. It is very hard. The pink team has pushed back. But over here in the north, it is not going as well for the pink team, and they start getting invaded from two sides. Well, only one side, but they get cut off from their area right here, and with help from their navy right here, they will go ahead and completely capitulate this part of the pink team, and then they will start to move once again in this area. But these two major cities are very important, so it will take a little bit, but eventually they fully get cut off from the coast, they get cut off from each other, and then these areas fall. But just know that that was a pretty bloody war. Anyways, the fully annexed and yeah, so the green team and the peach team and even the red team, they're starting to get worried. The blue team wants to reclaim a lot of its land. I mean, they are pretty much already have it from the uh peach and red teams, but they probably will go after Morocco and probably go after Portugal. So those two countries are gonna get they're gonna get really scared. But not much they can really do about it. Anyway, this Ethiopian country is going to go ahead and expand. They take a lot of this land, connecting up the Sudan and completely cutting off the red team from more expansion. And yeah, so that is going to do it. Actually, maybe we can do something like that. There we go. Now let's look over to India. These Indian countries are pretty weak. The only kind of strong one is this slime team, and this green team right here is they're struggling a little bit. So they are in the yellow team are they're planning something, they're cooking something, and that is called the North Indian Federation. So these guys will unite into the North Indian Federation, and they take both of their former countries with them, and they're going to go ahead and put their capital in let's see, this major city right here. So it's way more closer to both of their former capitals or their former countries. And there we go. So that is the North Indian Federation. This country is actually becoming a little strong, and they're counteracting the Lime Team's influence in South Asia. And also these South Asian countries, which all pretty much have a pact with each other, that if one of them gets invaded, then all of them will respond. Coming over here to the Japanese area, the Koreans have discovered Japan. Yay, they discovered a lot of the waters around Japan before they actually start discovering. And that's just for knowledge on how far these isles go. But eventually they will stop right here and decide they want to start exploring these islands that are pretty big. And who knows, they could be beneficial for them in the future. So they will start discovering some of these islands, mainly focusing on this western coast right here. And also just the coast in general, and they take a lot of land. This one island, and they start exploring this island too. They also start exploring from the northern region, and they just take this whole island right. Well, they don't take it, but they discover this northern island right here, and that is pretty good for them, I guess. Anyways, that is gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a 15-minute video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.